Welcome back to another episode here on Drive with Jesh. Today we're here in downtown Austin with Zac Walden, CEO of Walden Media Group and his G63. We're gonna get a rundown of the G63. We're gonna learn more about Zac's entrepreneurial background, and then we're gonna hit the racetrack in my AMG GTS. Zac, thanks for joining us here today.
Josh, good to be here, man.
It's been a while. Well, what can you tell us about the G63, Zac?
Man, it's one of those cars you kind of always throw on your bucket list, and this one's been on mine for a little while. I've got to tell you, the coolest thing about this car is it's just ridiculously fast, and I had no idea. In fact, I bought this without even driving it. I handled all the paperwork, drove, and I turned in a Porsche that I had at the time.
That's right, you had the Cayman.
And left with this. At almost 6,000 pounds, this thing puts out 585 horsepower stock. And I've done almost nothing at all to this vehicle. Yeah. It still has a 0 to 60 under 4 seconds. It's unbelievable how fast it moves.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, one thing I really love about this one is I love everything just super, super dark gray. That was my Porsche. That was a couple of other vehicles I had. And this is like a one-of-a-kind wrap. You see a lot of these, they've got the dark black kind of satin on it. But this is more of a metallic, kind of brushed aluminum finish almost. So instantly, this just jumped out to me. We've got the 22-inch wheels on here, looks great. I'm big on carbon fiber, so this one's got the carbon fiber package.
A lot of carbon fiber in there.
Wood grain is great, but I felt like this is such a sporty vehicle. I wanted to go all James Bond with it. Absolutely love it. It's such a fun vehicle to drive, but it's so practical at the same time. A little bit of carbon fiber on the back. I had a valet driver actually back up the vehicle into a pole and just totally crushed this wheel cover on the back. So I had to swap it out. I thought, let's throw a little more carbon fiber on there.
I like it.
Came out great, super clean. A little bit of shine, everything else is so matte. Everything else is pretty standard. I haven't done a whole lot to the vehicle. These come perfect as they are. I think if I was gonna add one thing, it might be an exhaust, but this thing sounds amazing right out of the factory.
4-liter twin turbo, similar to the GTS. So speaking of the exhaust, Zac, can we hear what this sounds like? Get some revs in?
Let's start it up.
All right, let's do it. Nice, Zac. Twin turbo V8, that sounds damn
clean,
good for
man.
stock.
A lot of fun.
So we've got Melissa. This is Zac's right hand. Melissa's gonna drive my car down to the track while we're doing the interview with Zac's car. Melissa, can you do the honors, give some revs here in the GTS? Let's do it.
All right, Josh, welcome. Let's take a look.
Yes, beautiful.
We're super excited. We just moved in here. It's the entire top floor here on Brazos, downtown Austin.
Very nice.
Big expansion for the company, but let's take a look and
Love it.
show you around a little bit, man. We've got kind of a cool brake area here. I went and I bought these bar stools. I thought they were so cool, and I didn't measure, so they're completely unusable because
you've got very, very small thighs or legs. You know,
but they look great. The aesthetic is there.
I like it.
Conference room is a big deal for us. We host a lot of meetings here. Our clients are from all over the world, so having a nice big room for presentations and talk about strategy, important part of our work. We're big on company merch here. Maddie Denard, our associate art director,
I like it.
constantly puts out great merchandise. A couple of executive offices here. Wave hi to Melissa.
There she is, Melissa.
Big open creative space here. Wednesdays are work from home, so it's a little bit light, but we've got a few people
Some good
hanging out.
flexibility. Nice.
A couple of breakout meeting areas, and then my office here.
I gotta check out your office.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been good. It's gonna be a big year of growth and hiring for us at the company. We started this at a one-person WeWork office. It was half the size of this room. Jeez. And every single year we've expanded. So this is actually our third office now. And we're really excited. We hope to hit about 70 employees in this space. and then outgrow it, get to the next one, get over 100.
Love it. Congrats, man. Y'all are growing we I see the gong over there for when we close some deals.
Yeah, you know, it's actually a cool story. A really close friend of mine and mentor, guy's name is Jeff, started an agency years and years and years ago called Project 202. And when I was early in my career, I always looked at that agency as kind of a benchmark, like, man, that's what I want to do one day. Jeff and I actually met just by coincidence years later, and I later put it together that he was the founder of Project 202. So we struck up a friendship. He's been an advisor here for the company, but when he started the company, this was actually their gong that they would hit every time they brought in clients. So it's kind of passing the torch, and we've got it here now.
I like it. Yeah. It's sentimental.
You know, we're really grateful to be where we're at. We've got an incredible team. Obviously, all of the success is directly attributed to all the folks that we have out there.
Well, appreciate the quick tour.
Absolutely, man.
Should we hit the racetrack?
Let's do it.
Have some fun in the AMGs. Zac, today you are CEO of Walden Media Group. You got this G63. You got that nice Porsche. I missed that one before this.
Yeah.
Take me back to what life was like for you growing up and what shaped your ambition.
Man, I've got a story that's, I think, similar or resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs. And life was humble growing up, to say the least. I grew up off of a dirt road called Nowhere Road outside of Athens, Georgia. It's almost like out of a storybook. And for me, it just felt like a lack of opportunity growing up. And so I learned early on to start looking for that. Later in life, when I was able to start accomplishing that, I found it was most rewarding to try to bring as many people with me as possible. And that's what led to starting these businesses and creating jobs and opportunity for as many people as I can.
What was the first business that you started?
When I was probably 10 or 11, I was trying to find work. I wasn't old enough to work. And so I would go out in the woods. This is ridiculous. I would trim down these tree branches and try to smooth them out. Yeah. And then I would go door to door and I would try to sell them as walking sticks.
Okay.
I made 20 of these things. I think I probably sold 2. And then I think a little while after that, another kid I knew, his dad had a lawnmower. To get the lawnmower, I'd pay him half of everything I made, and I would go to as many houses as I could and say, I'll mow your property, $5 for the front, $5 for the back. I really got my ass kicked on that business because I was paying 50% of everything I made to this other kid to use his dad's lawnmower. Bad deal on my side. But I knocked on this one door. I said, hey, I'm mowing lawns, and this guy was smiling ear to ear. He was like, oh, absolutely, of course. And I thought, okay, this is great. Do the front yard, go to the back. It was like 2 acres. And this guy hadn't mowed it in probably a year, I swear. So it took me a week to mow. I had to keep coming back evening after evening to finish mowing this yard.
Wow.
That was the last one I did.
What kind of lessons did you learn from any of the businesses before Walden?
I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is that it's really about how many times you can get knocked down and get back up. That's it. That's the difference between success and failure as an entrepreneur, because everyone's going to have the setbacks. I mean, genuinely, it's impossible sometimes to see your way through a situation or to mitigate the risk or to have that threshold of tolerance.
Now, talking about some of the harder time, what would you say was one of the biggest failures in your life, either business or personal, and what you took away from that?
Good question. One is, when I was 25, I bought a property, and I'm pretty handy, and I had this goal that I was going to remodel the house, and I thought I could do it in a year, and I was going to do all the work myself. It took me 6 years. And so that was a big setback because, I had planned to, make some money on the investment much earlier, and then that was going to help me do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And so it was a calculated risk, but it ended up taking much longer than I thought. But there's a good lesson in there. I think people underestimate the long game. People overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 5.
With Walden Media Group today, you guys are doing great. You're growing, looking to hire quite a lot of people this year. What do you think differentiates Walden from other agencies out there?
Traditionally, the agency space is very siloed. You've got creative groups and they focus on solely creative. You've got advertising groups, they focus solely on advertising, distribution, or media buying. You have technology groups, they focus on web app and software engineering. And for the last 50 years, they've been split up just like that, and businesses have been used to working with agencies in that capacity. So I began to ask, why is it done this way? In my career, I was fortunate enough, I started in very creative roles, design roles, then I moved into web development, software engineering, advertising, and so I saw these different components, and I recognized that when you combine them and you can build systems around that connection, you tend to see this hockey stick result for whatever brand or business you're representing. And that led to huge success early on because every business on earth needs the combination of those tools.
Yeah.
And we are simply the connective tissue to offer that solution.
What advice do you have for someone who is looking to begin their entrepreneurial journey?
Don't ask for permission, just start the work. I built my first portfolio as a designer to break into this industry by calling businesses out of the yellow pages one by one and offering to do work for free. I knew that if I could build a portfolio of work for real businesses, it would give me a leg up interviewing for companies to get my foot in the door.
Regarding your personal life, when you're not running the business, being CEO, what are some of your personal hobbies?
This, I think, is an unpopular opinion. But to build this, to get here, no personal hobbies, no personal life. It's all sacrifice. And I think that's a big part of the equation and the formula for success as a self-made entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the part that people are not willing to do. And it's not for a month, it's not for a year, it's for years at a time. What sets people apart is the discipline and the endurance. There are times in life, if you want to be exceptional, it's zero balance. You don't get exceptional by giving what everyone else does. If you do what everyone else does, you get average. That's what average is. If you want to be exceptional, if you want to be successful, off the charts, your input has to be off the charts. You get out exactly what you put in.
So how do you avoid burnout?
Burnout is real. It's real. I think every single individual is capable of a lot more than they recognize. You are going to be tired on the journey of being an entrepreneur. You're going to want to give up on the journey of being an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you're burnt out. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It's a very different type of personality that truly makes it as an entrepreneur.
What would you say you want to be remembered for in life, Zac?
I'd like to be remembered for the impact that I'm able to make. And for me, that's creating opportunity for as many people as I possibly can. I love the work we do, creative, technology, advertising, media, design, technology, because one, we're creating opportunity on our side of the fence, the amount of jobs this agency can create. But when we are successful for our clients and the businesses and brands and ideas that we represent, we're also creating jobs and opportunity on that side because those businesses are growing. So for me, that feels like a big impact. That's where I'm rewarded the most. And if I could be remembered for something, I'd like to be remembered for doing that successfully.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Well, now let's pivot over to cars. What was kind of your first fun sports car growing up?
The very first fun car I ever had was a BMW 3 Series years and years ago. But man, I thought I had just absolutely made it. It was a used car, ton of miles on it.
Yeah.
But I was in my early 20s, and it was so much fun.
Well, awesome. Well, appreciate the time, Zach.
Absolutely,
It's good stuff.
Josh.
Learning more about you and the business.